Good evening, good Thursday evening to you. Welcome to this edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets, of course, presented by the Houston Roundball Review. I am KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. I teased it. Let's get into it. I have a trade proposal via the Spotrac Trade Machine that works, sending Kevin Durant to the Rockets from the Suns. And ironically, I didn't know this at the time, but my trade proposal was almost exactly what the ESPN insiders wrote about and published Thursday, hours after I came up with mine. So we'll get into it. You can tweak it. You can shoot it down. It's all for conversation. It's all for fun and discussion here on Let's Talk Houston Rockets. Let's have some fun. Here we go. All right, Rockets get KD. Look at that money. Look at that amount of money, $51.179 million. He has 1 year left, as you know, for $53.282 million. But the Suns get Dillon Brooks, Reed Sheppard, Jock Landale. And this is where you guys come in for part of the discussion during tonight's show. Aaron Holiday or Cam Whitmore. Derek, how are you doing, my brother? Thank you for chiming in. So that is the trade in a nutshell. Dillon Brooks, Reed Sheppard, Jock Landale, and either Aaron Holiday or Cam Whitmore. Both those players' salaries work for, according to the trade machine on Spotrac. So KD and no picks involved. You know, that could be up to Rafael and the Sun. They want to involve picks, what have you. But salaries match, and got a little more details, and there's some stuff that's getting over my pay grade. When I was younger, I used to be really in tune with the salary cap and the trade proposals and the exceptions and all the ins and outs with all that. But older I've gotten, don't care. Just don't care. But the Rockets are adding $5.2 million because even though it's one for four players, KD's salary is more than those four players. Either the combination of four players, four Rockets. So the Rockets are taking on more salary, $5.2 million more. Outgoing cap, $46 million. Allowable incoming cap, trade percentages, it's like, I think 125 now for NBA rules, whatever, is $57 million. Incoming is $51 million. The cap difference is $5 million. So the trade is successful. And you see the Rockets will be a first apron hard cap team. And basically that means it's because they're already over the apron. Because they are taking more salary than they're giving out, than they're sending out. So that's going to hard cap them at that first apron. And I'll get into that momentarily. If you wonder what the hell is that, KG, what is the first apron? Suns free up $5.2 million. But the Suns are so far over the apron and stuff, they're still going to be a second apron team after the trade. Their outgoing cap salaries, $51 million. Allowable incoming, $51. Incoming cap, $46 million. The cap difference is $5 million. So you're under that trade about the allowable incoming of $5 million. So the trade is successful. Games hardened. So let me see. Derek says, can trade Reed Sheppard, Cam Whitmore, Jock Landale. Won't work salary cap wise. If you don't include Dillon Brooks, you would have to probably involve a third or fourth team for the salaries. If it's just Rockets and Suns directly, you're going to have to include Dillon because of his salary. Games Harden, how you doing? Games Harden likes to trade. And like I said, this is a trade machine. I came up with it, and the ESPN insiders had similar ideas, but they involve some picks also. According to Spotrac, you don't need to. Rockets would have 12 players and needs to be in roster compliance. Just fill out the roster. That's not going to be an issue. Suns must waive 3 players before processing the trade. That wouldn't be an issue either. They want to make it happen. They can figure it out, get that done. Because the Rockets, and this part is courtesy of ESPN, the insiders, because the Rockets are hard capped at the first apron, the $44.9 million team option of Fred VanVleet is declined, which I think is inevitable. Anyway, the Rockets will re-sign Fred at a starting salary of $25 million. So less salary, more years. The reduction in VanVleet's contract will also allow Houston to re-sign Steven Adams and remain below the first apron. So adding that info, does that make you even more agreeable to this trade? Or you're still like, hell no, I don't want Derek. Hell no, I still don't want to do it. Once a team goes over the first apron, they face restrictions on free agency, trades, and signings, impacting their ability to make further roster moves. According to Spotrac, the 2025-26 apron totals, the first apron, will be projected to be $195 million, $195,946,000. The second apron is $207,825,000. The Rockets' current team payroll is $191,588,670. So they have first apron space about $4.6 million. So I'm thinking hard cap. He's still over the apron. They won't be a second apron team. They can still make the trade. So what do you think? Go back to it again. Here's my trade proposal that is successful via the trade machine. Kevin Durant becomes a Rocket. In exchange for Dillon Brooks, DB makes $21 million next season. Next 2 years, about $21 and $20 million, declining salary. Reed Sheppard, and I know Reed Sheppard is the third pick, was the third pick in the draft, but to see Reed Sheppard making $10 million a year still blows my mind. And hey, Reed, get that money, young fella, get that money. $10 million per. So DB, Reed, Jock Landale, and either Aaron Holiday or Cam Whitmore. So let's talk about it. Mr. Big Texco says, as it's part of Shams putting out there that the Rockets are one of the 5 teams being considered by KD and his people. Spurs, Timberwolves, Miami has like little to no chance. They have nothing really of value to make a deal work for Phoenix. But the Rockets are one of the 5. Deverick says trade those 4. Again, Deverick, you got to include DB for his salary to match, to get within range of what Kevin Durant is earning, or involve a third or fourth team to spread it out. For this show, we're just focusing on a 2-team deal, Rockets and Suns. I think it's probably likely that more teams will be involved, to involve multiple picks, to spread out the salaries to make it less painful and for a specific team like the Rockets. And that might involve sending Dillon Brooks somewhere else. Or if another team can help out with a salary that doesn't involve Dillon Brooks. Okay. We'll see. But for this show, this discussion right now, it's a 1-for-4 deal. Not even involving any picks. Not involving the Rockets' 10th pick in the 2025 first round of the NBA draft. Not even doing that. Could put that in there. Rockets have the Suns picks, could involve that. But right now, it's just player for players, Hall of Famer for 4 dudes from the Rockets. Jamon says trading for KD is lunacy. Why do you say lunacy? Like I said, it's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. Dillon Brooks ain't. Reed won't be. I don't care what y'all think of Reed Sheppard. His ceiling, if he makes it, God bless him. God bless him. If he does, but I don't see that happening. But thank you for this. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Baylor Bear 03. You're becoming a regular to the show and a contributor. Appreciate that. Derek's not, you're not getting it, brother. Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't believe the Rockets are going to trade for Kevin Durant. Unless Tillman says, trade Kevin Durant. I want Kevin Durant. That's the only thing I will make it happen, is if Tillman Fertitta says, I want Kevin Durant. Period. And then and only then I think it will happen. Rafael and Ime, I'm not even sure Ime could sway Rafael to do it. But if Tillman says it, it's going to happen, whether y'all like it or not. Tillman's going to make it. He's going to pull that trigger. But because I think Kevin Durant, and the question is obviously, KD's making this. Let me go back to the number. Look at the number. Look at this number. The 25-26 season, KD will make $53 million. $53.282 million. And he's looking for a 2-year contract extension that will be worth probably what he's looking for, $112 million. So, yeah. That just makes me say, yeah, Rockets, y'all need to move on. That's what I'm saying. Now, I could see Minnesota, even the Spurs, doing it. But, woo. Oh, yeah, I'm underestimating Reed Shepherd. I don't believe he'll be a Hall of Famer. He could be all NBA. No, not that. He could be an all-star. I don't believe he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Don't see it. Don't see it. He could be a very, very good NBA player. Hall of Fame is rare. That's elite of elite. Doesn't make him a bad player. Stone is only trading for KD for the minimum value. And what does that mean, Solo? Thank you for joining the show, brother. Appreciate you as always. Because KD's still making $51 million. This right now, for the end of this 24-25 season, he's making that. He's going to make 53 next year. So you got to get the Rockets, another 1, 2, 3 teams to be within the range of his salary for the trade to work. So whether it involves, I think ESPN put out there, Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, and Rob Dillingham from Minnesota to Phoenix as one of the trade ideas. And the Spurs was Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, and maybe one other player. But I mean, Harrison Barnes making like almost $40 million a year. It's monopoly money to us. I mean, hell, it's a lot of money. But you got to, this is for discussion. That's what I'm saying. This is for discussion. I don't believe Rock's going to do this. Not at all. And you can convince me it's too much money and he's too old. And I've said it on previous shows that his window is shorter than the Rockets' potential title contending window. And that's why I don't believe they should do it. And not too complicated. Let me get to your question because I think you asked it. You didn't. If KD wants that much, he should only be a visitor in Houston for fun. Midnight Ace, thank you for joining the conversation. Do I think he'd take a pay cut because of Texas being no state income tax? It should be discussed. I mean, it really should be discussed. Rafael, Ime, the capologists should bring it up. I mean, KD will be 37 this season. Another 2 years, he'll be 38 and 39. That's a hell of a lot of money, Hall of Famer or not, for a dude 38, 39 years old. So no, if I'm the Rockets, I would not offer that much, the max eligible for him for a contract extension. No. I'd probably go, hey, KD, you 38, 39 years old, man. How about 2 years, 85 million, something like that, whatever. Still a hell of a lot of money, but 56 million per, woo, man. I mean, he's looking for it, and he might understand, playing with the Spurs or playing with the Rockets in Texas. His 1 year of college ball was in Austin. He might, for those two teams, he might accept a little less money. He might go 2 years, 90 million, 2 years, 85 million, whatever. You got to ask him. It has to be part of the conversations right now, because he has some leverage. He can be a free agent next summer. And with the bump in salary cap, with the new media rights deal going into effect, there'll be a lot more teams who will have cap space next summer. And a few of those teams probably will have enough money to swing KD, make him happy with a salary amount. Right now, the only team with max cap room this summer is Brooklyn. Kevin Durant does not want to do that again. He doesn't want to do that. But blah, blah, blah. Complicated. I'm not falling for that. Whatever. There's nothing there for that. Whatever. But I'm curious as to y'all's thought process regarding him on his last legs. KD, 36-year-old Kevin Durant is still a better scorer than anybody the Rockets have. Agree? 37-year-old Kevin Durant is still a better scorer than anybody the Rockets have. Agree? The question is the money. It's not his skill. He can still get buckets. So from a basketball standpoint, okay. From a basketball standpoint, is KD more talented than Dillon Brooks? Yes. And he's way more talented than Jock Landale, Aaron Holiday, Reed Shepherd. But for the Rockets and where they are, I still don't believe he is enough. The Rockets will have enough to get them over the hump to win the chip this coming season or next season. It's the money part that says no for me. So that's what I'm saying. If y'all come at me with the money, that's fine. And I agree with that. But when you're talking about him on his last legs and his basketball skills, we disagree on that one, because he is definitely better than anybody Rockets have from a hooping standpoint. And someone, it might be the Spurs, it might be Minnesota. That's probably the two lead contenders for the Rockets for KD services, who take that challenge, bite that bullet, and say, hey, KD and Wemby, KD won't have, he may have 3 years left in the league. KD and Wemby, and what else we have? De'Aaron Fox. That's a title contending team. I don't know if I go that far, but they'll have to believe that. Okay, how about this? From this different perspective. If Kevin Durant goes to the Spurs, are the Rockets better than the Spurs? I'm asking. Solo. I mean, that was part of that. The Heat was included in that. But who do they have, man? That Phoenix would have won. Seriously. I mean, blah. If the Heat could swing that, and hey, for giving up the pennies they have remaining, shame on Phoenix. But I mean, there's a reason Phoenix is in the mess that they're in right now. So, but and if KD decided to go there, the Heat aren't one of the best teams in the East. And they're definitely not a title contender. Now, if they give him his contract extension, then we're really seeing KD just going for the money and not trying to get another ring. Which, you know, some guys chase that money, especially the ones who've already accomplished winning a title or two. Brother Al, hi. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Hope to see you hopefully in July, Big 12. Who knows? Maybe. If not for sure, in October at Big 12 Hoops Media Day. But thank you for the super chat. If you want to contribute like Brother Al High, part of the BS3 Network family, you can also contribute as he has done. Appreciate that as always. Jamon Silva could hook up the Lakers again with a KD trade. Space Age says, just tuned in, and in my honest opinion, I think the Rockets need to do something. KD fits better with the Rockets than the rest of those teams. And Al, I don't know if you saw it, so I'm going to go back to it one more time. This is what we're discussing. And like I said, this works via the trade machine, courtesy of Spotrac. Rockets get Kevin Durant. Suns get Dylan Brooks, Reed Shepherd, Jock Landale, and either Aaron Holiday or Cam Whitmore. So it could be Brooks, Shepherd, Landale, Holiday. Or it could be Brooks, Shepherd, Landale, Whitmore. And this is a simple, in its simplest form, a two-team trade. Not a 3-team, 4-team, 5-team, nothing like that. More teams involved. You're probably going to involve more draft picks, spreading around salaries, all that different things. But for simplicity and for tonight's show, I plugged it in and got the salaries to match for success of the trade. Space Age says he'd do it in a heartbeat. Solo believes that the Rockets should keep Reed over Cam. Only issue with that is, and again, and this is no shade on Reed Shepherd, but as the third pick in the draft, Reed is making $10 million per. $10 million per as a third pick in the draft. Cam is making $3 million. And next year, go up a little bit. So if you don't include Reed and put in Cam Whitmore, you got to make up another $6 million of salary. Toss in somebody else. Or bring in another team. Reed is involved in this trade for salaries and for conversation. I doubt the Rockets would give up both of them, both their young, up-and-coming bright stars. But for trade purposes and salary and numbers, that's why Reed is included. So, and I included Aaron Holiday instead of Cam, or either or, because Aaron's salary is similar to what Cam makes, and it still works in the trade machine. Rob says get a third team, and that's fine. And I think if the Rockets were involved, more than two teams it'd be more than Rockets and Suns. There would be other teams involved. But for discussion on this show and for simplicity, I mean, I wasn't going to go into the trade machine and plug in 3-4 teams and trying to get all this stuff to work. I'm not doing that. Let the real folks do that. I'm not doing all that. But for tonight, I'm giving you an example of what a Suns Rockets trade could look like that would send KD to the Rockets. And, this could be, Space Age could be right. The Spurs are pushing the Rockets' decisions. Because I think the Spurs are more likely to do something big this summer than the Rockets. So regardless, let's go with that for discussion. Complicated says this, it's not a reason to get rid of Cam. And of course, July 1st, Jalen Green's salary goes up to $33 million. So if you do that, you could have a different trade package. July 1st, I think, as of today, Jalen's salary for the trade machine is only $12 million. So it does not yet calculate, or I couldn't figure out how to do it, his bump in pay. So if you wanted to include, come July 1st, Jalen's salary or Jalen himself, then that's a whole other conversation. He's making $33 million. Then Dillon Brooks, $23 million. You don't need Dillon Brooks. You could include Jalen Green, which I really doubt Rafael wants to do this summer. But as for today, well, actually I did this yesterday, but for the show and the salaries as they currently stand, that's why I did what I did. Rob, I have not seen anything about Jabari trade nonsense, so let me know about that. And of course, it's also Lion season. Rob, you're talking about this? You're referring to this? A Suns reporter said that a KD trade would likely include Jabari and Jalen. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. If I'm the Rockets, hang up the phone. That's not lowering your trade demands. Of course, we don't know what the Suns initially were asking for the moon, the galaxy, the stars, everything. And now they're supposedly lowered their demands. Well, if they're lowering it to Jabari and Jalen, that's foolhardy. See, Space Age is a different mindset. Space Age is, I'm sorry, fellas, Jalen has to go. Mindset isn't there. And his lady doesn't want him here. Doesn't even show up at his games. Green wants to be in LA. Rob says it. He said it before. I'm saying it again. If we trade Jabari, I'm storming Toyota Center. Jamon believes this, that Suns reporter is trying to speak his dreams into reality. The Suns want their picks, but Stone and Rockets are like, nah, we're good. And all right, how about this? I don't know what it would take in terms of trade machine, additional teams. If one or two more teams are involved and the Rockets include the 10th pick in the draft, in this month's draft, would that satisfy you guys if involving that 10th pick in the draft meant Reed Sheppard was not included in the trade? So it's the third or fourth team involved. Rockets include the 10th pick in the draft and no Reed Sheppard. Would that make you happy? Rob says it's frustrating as Jalen is. He's not ready to give up on him. He's getting there. I think he'll be the last of the core to figure it out. Derek says yes to my what if. So we shall see. Mr. Big Texco asks, was Jabari closing games in the playoffs? He wasn't utilized enough, in my opinion. How high do they think of him? I mean, it's a question, do they want to pay him? Do they believe he's part of the core long term? A question that they need to answer. Jamon says, KD on this roster at his salary doesn't make any sense, no matter the trade. The 10th pick has more value than KD because you get a good young player, a good player on a cheap contract. Leave KD in Phoenix. Space Age. You see, Jamon doesn't want KD at all. At all. Doesn't make any sense, no matter the trade. I think for the right trade, right teams involved, I think it would make sense. I don't believe that's going to happen in favor of the Rockets. But back to one of my other questions. If Tender Knights, how are you doing? If the Spurs get KD or Giannis, are the Rockets better than the Spurs? Are the Rockets still the second best team in the West without moves, with just continuity? That's the question, as the Wi-Fi here and the weather over here is messing up tonight. If the Rockets don't do anything major, just stand pat, do contract, extensions for the young core, will they still be the second best team in the West? Space Age says no. Jamon, I'm curious your answer to that question. Space Age says no. Mr. Big Texco says no. Because if your answer is no, then what would it take for them to not be passed? Complicated states, Spurs would be considered the second or third best team in the league if they get KD. Space Age, Rockets have to upgrade somewhere on this roster. Jamon states he's not sure the Spurs with KD or Giannis makes them into a championship team. Rockets are on a good path. They just need to add shooting. They need a Buddy Hield type of player on a value contract. Buddy Hield's not a free agent, though. I checked that. I think that's right. He's not a free agent. Internal growth or making moves around the margins. So low. So do you believe the internal growth is enough to keep the Rockets as the second best team in the West? And really that internal growth has to be from Jalen Green, right? Right? It has to be. So that's the question that the Rockets front office has to answer internally and privately. What they say publicly is just for us to hear, and chop around and chop it up and whatever. Jamon says the Rockets should add a guard like Colin Sexton to compete for Jalen Green's starting position. Complicated believes Rockets can be the best team in the league if a man shoots over 35% from three. Even if your man is still here on the team, as in Jalen Green, not doing well. Chandler Knights, the Rockets' weakness is glaring. We have to get shooting. JG frustrates the heck out of me, but I think we ride or die with him now. Pick up a shooter like Hill. I believe the Rockets are going to keep Jalen and give him every opportunity to excel, to shine, to succeed until February. And if he hasn't the light hasn't come on and stayed on, then I believe by deadline, they should move on from Jalen Green. Does not mean they're going to do it just because I believe it, but they're going to give him every opportunity from now until February deadline for Jalen Green to make it happen here. Jamon says this: Stone giving Jalen that extension last year was a mistake. Complicated, build chemistry around Amen Thompson's game. Game's hard. KD would just make the game easier for everyone. It's just fun to talk about, fun to discuss. Just want to bring it out there. This trade proposal that I put together in the trade machine, it works. That's all. That's all it is. It's for conversation. Nope, I do not believe the Rockets are going to do it, especially directly with the Suns. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions, your comments, your concerns. Baylor Bear 03, thank you for your kind words. Al Hot, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that as always. Going to wrap it up. We got game 4 tomorrow. The Indiana Pacers representing the Central Division. The Pacers win the NBA title. Still got to get 2 more wins. But they would join the Cavs, Pistons, and the Bulls with NBA titles. 2 more to go. It's going to be hard to get those 2. But everyone, thank you very much. Tell your friends about this live stream show, this show that discusses the Rockets unlike anybody else. And wrapping it up, as I always do, I'm not sure what I'm going to do the next show. Saturday, Father's Day, definitely not going to do it on Father's Day. But just click on the bell so you can receive notifications when new shows are posted, of course, and spread the word about this show. And we'll keep doing it, especially as the draft approaches. 13 days away, round 1, June 25th. Wrapping it up. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.
Game over.